What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I'm going to start something different. I'm going to actually set aside and take time for Q&A on this segment, and I'm going to start with one of my current videos that I had to drop a couple days ago on the announcement of Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz 2, the rematch. And a lot of times during my routine, my daily routine, I go to the gym because I train a lot for my career. And then I might go to, get some spa treatments, get some massages, hang out, but that's what I'm doing if I'm in town. Now, if I'm out of town working or whatever, it's just a different story. But saying all that to say, the reason why I don't really respond to some of the time is because I'm busy, But I do appreciate the comments, so this is a perfect time to go over some of the comments and, do a little Q&A, and a little explanation, and, shouts out to everybody, that leave comments, good or bad, right? Now, this is from the titled video of Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, The Honest Truth, okay? Now, John Rude, he says, I can't understand how a man gets beat in a title shot, has a stinker against Christian Hammer, then back in for a title shot. There are young active fighters paying sanctioning fees, yet the Cuban Peter Pan gets Wilder. Well, to counterpunch that, Wilder did get beat. He did get beat. That was Wilder's toughest fight to date. And fighting someone like Ortiz, it is true, I think there is a type of chain of command that if you get beat, you at least have to, work yourself back up. And the Christian Hammer fight was not an impressive fight at all. In fact, that's the fight, I think, that made them choose Ortiz nonetheless, because they know he was more riper from the picking than they was from the first fight. So I think that's one of the reasons they chose Luis Ortiz, on top of him being a target for Joshua. So they can kill two birds with one stone by picking him. For one, he's slower, he's older, and he's easier to beat now. And plus, we won't let Joshua get his fucking hands on him. So that's me counterpunching that. Now, as far as the Cuban Peter Pan, I don't know. I don't get that analogy. So I don't know. But anyway, moving on. Honest truth, can't hide from it. As of late, you've been on fire. Appreciate it. I mean, when news comes, I get on it, gotta counterpunch it, tell you my thoughts on it. It says, and that's from Firebrand that said that. Gavin Connolly, you are the best boxing channel on YouTube by far. I live in the UK and I watch your videos every day. Keep speaking the truth, dude. Yeah. You got to speak the truth. You got to tell it how it is, in your opinion, and I try to be unbiased. I just try to want to see, the fights. And if the fights aren't happening, I try to pinpoint who's at fault. Is it this side? Is it that side? Or is it both? Right? So, shouts out to Gavin Connolly, all around Ayana. Damn, you went on the whole crew. LOL. Put them fools in place. The fact is, Wilder's another duck sitting in the PBC pond. Damn. Yep, they call him a master ducker. The Duck Chronicles, Duck Tales. Duck Chronicles, what? Bruce fucking Vane, Duck Tales, Ring IQ. He is ducking. He's ducking for whatever reason. He doesn't want those fights. He's changed his tune. We all know that. But as far as, the whole crew, yeah, I mean, I don't really like to go off on other channels. And I kind of try to refrain from that because I hear bullshit every day. But the reason I do it is you have to regulate the truth in there. See, if you get a bunch of bullshit after bullshit after bullshit, and you have these guys that have subscribers that they follow these channels only. It's some subscribers and some people that only follow the LDBC channels. And then every so often they'll get curious enough to go to another channel to get another insight or to get another opinion. And then that's when you hear, oh, you're a hater, you're the bias, you're a coon, you're all this shit. But then it is those selective few that do want to hear another opinion because they're curious to know what someone else has to say. You know, the ones that think for themselves. And these people have the leader mentality, not the follower mentality. You know, and you don't have to agree on everything a person says, and you can speak your mind. And a lot of those channels, if you say something derogatory, they'll just block you. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. In a hot seat and all that bullshit. You know, speak your mind. Say what you feel. You know, if you have something and you make a statement that's supposed to be based on fact, back it up. You know, prove someone wrong on what you're saying. Don't just say a bunch of shit for the sake of saying it because of how you feel for whatever reason. You know, if you're a fan of Deontay Wilder, okay, just say, hey, I'm a fan of Deontay Wilder. I have friends that are fans of Deontay Wilder, but that means I don't have to go off on them because they are, you know. So it is what it is. You know, Dylan Vasey, May 27th, Hearn. After this fight, Joshua is calling out Wilder. Joshua needs to put it on him, publicly call him out. May 29th, Wilder, we can't fight anyone else because we've arranged a fight with Ortiz. We don't have a venue, location, or date, but we thought people should know. A great man once said, if you don't have an excuse, get one. Well done, Kurt. Great video. Awesome. Let me counterpunch that. You made a good point. See, about the date, about the venue, you know, if you guys can remember, that was one of the reasons that they didn't want to fight Joshua. They didn't want to accept the $15 million because it had no date and no venue on it. You know, later on in the year, that same deal, they added to it or said that the reason we didn't take the $15 million like we agreed to was because it didn't have a rematch clause. So I was like, well, wait a minute. Which one did you say was the reason? You said first that was no date, no venue. Now you're saying the reason we didn't take it was because there's no rematch clause. You didn't say that back then. You know, like, if you're going to conduct business, do it in a consistent way so people won't be side-eyeing you and doubting what you say, because that's all that's happened at this point. If you say, hey, the reason for that is, hey, because there's no date, no venue. Okay, let that be the reason, right? Instead of then later on saying, hey, another reason why we didn't do it was because we didn't have a rematch clause. Well, why didn't you say that back then? Put all the problems that you have with this contract, with this offer, on the table so everybody will know. Don't change that shit around, because when you start changing it around, that makes us think that maybe you're making some shit up. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're making stuff up to the point where you're like, okay, well, yeah, it was this reason too. Well, you didn't tell us that before. Now we have to go back. Now let's just say it had no date, no venue on it, and then Hearn and Team Joshua tried to fix that. Okay, well, hey, look, it's on this date, so sign the fucking contract. Pretty please with sprinkles on top. And then they say, oh, well, it's no rematch clause. See, now you're bullshitting. You see what I'm saying? So that is not a great way to conduct business. So shout out to Dylan Vasey for that. That was cool. Let me go on. Let's see. The Predictionist. Everyone should be pissed, crying crying, laughing emojis. Everyone should be pissed. Counter, you got me rolling. LMO or LMAL. Laughing my ass off. Real talk, I don't want the rematch, Ortiz rematch either. Boxing drama. Okay, Chris James. When offered a fight by AJ, I won't sign without a date or venue. When offered a fight by AJ, I can't. I'm busy fighting Ortiz with no date, no venue. Of course, you know, just like Vasey, you know, same thing. Point made, you know, love that. It says, keep schooling the real boxing fans and leave the idiots to the LDBC. Wilder ducking like he's in a limbo contest. Quality content from a quality channel. Shouts out to you. Appreciate it. Damn, Kurt, you went off on ego. That's James Levine. Steve Bryan said, keep schooling the boxing fans. Yeah, I went off on boxing ego because boxing ego, he's one of those guys that we don't disagree on everything, like I said, but he's one of those guys that you know that something's up with those guys. Like if every video you make, he makes a lot of Anthony Joshua videos. I mean, he makes a shitload of like Joshua videos, and it's always some shit like, oh, Joshua don't look good for Team Joshua. You know, now, you know, the new media is winning. Then he talks about his channel. And it's like, yeah, the Ego's Army, we're on it. You know, we already knew that he just said that because he already knew the Ortiz. And I'm like, dude, like, be a real fucking commentator. You know what I mean? Like, man, him, and see, it's guys like that ride Wilder's dick so hard to the point where we can tell you're riding that dick hard because you're walking funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, are you on the payroll or what? Because it's like they are paid to give a certain narrative. That's why I do so many Deontay Wilder videos, because that shit has to be balanced out. It has to be regulated. Because if you're going to say, hey, it'd be one thing to talk about Anthony Joshua and the bad shit on his end or his weaknesses, and then talk about Deontay Wilder and his. But just to only talk about Anthony Joshua in a negative sense, that's bullshit. And one thing about Boxing Ego, he has a perfect name. Boxing Ego. It's his fucking ego. You know, so a guy like that have the subscribers, and they come over here, and hey, and some of them convert because they know, okay, that dude's full of shit. He's just biased. He never says anything positive about Joshua, and he has no reason to. You know, and they make up the same shit, and it's like they live in 2018. They all talk about the $50 million as though the $50 million was just like doctrine, like that shit was the Old Testament, and the $100 million was like the New Testament. You know what I mean? Like, no, man, that's after Psalms. You know what I mean? Oh, no, man, you know, that's the old Quran. You know, we talking about the new Quran, you know, after Muhammad returned. Stuff like that, man. It's crazy. So, you know, so they live back there. They, you know, they talk in past tense, and then they're happy the fight's not happening because that allows them to talk more shit and hate on Anthony Joshua more, which they don't need to be. They should talk about all those fucking endorsements he has. They could talk about the money that he makes. They could talk about what he did in half the time of Deontay Wilder. They can talk about all these things, but they don't. They don't push those storylines out. They don't push that truth out. See, when you're saying half of the truth, that's a lie, because it's not the whole truth. That's lying by omission. That's what that's called. So those channels, if they say one thing and then they leave out this, oh, wait a minute, why'd you leave out the vital information that you needed to know? Like, oh, Joshua said that he turned down $50 million. He said, then turn around and say, oh, I'm not selling my soul. Devil's in the details. Well, why don't you tell the rest of that shit? Tell the rest that it had a deadline on it, right? Tell the rest that nothing was clear. Tell what Joshua said, let's roll, right? But then it didn't have any backbone to the shit, so it was questionable. And we don't know to this day if it was questionable or if it was real or not, simply because of how it was presented. It was presented in an email, like, what the fuck? You know? We have $50 million. You're going to be a man about your word and meet me by the tree out back in the yard. Don't wait. Make the date. You know? You know, but I don't know. It was crazy. But anyway, let me do a couple more. Counterpunch the Truth Boxing. You tell him, my brother. You tell him. That's LM Illustrations. Wow, that's awesome. Counterpunch the Truth Boxing. Hey, I try to tell the truth. That's awesome. Crack World. This reminds me of Lewis versus Bo. All talk, no action. Absolutely right. Shouts out to you, Crack World. That's what I thought. I thought about that yesterday, actually. Like, this shit was one of those things where it was like, well, damn, dude, this reminds me, the more and more I think about it, this reminds me of Bo and Lewis chasing Bo ass down, and Bo ain't trying to budge. Bo's trying to fucking duck, dodge, dip, neo, turn, and parry. And then neo again. You know what I mean? Limbo. You know, like, it's crazy. But if the fight doesn't happen, that will be history repeating itself all over again. You know, and Riddick Bowe, you know, and then to this day, I think Riddick Bowe now regrets not fighting him due to the fact, you know, Riddick Bowe was in good condition. Now he's older, you know, the scars of boxing has really hit him, you know what I mean? And he's slower, you know, I think, you know, him and Holyfield, these guys have put their health on the line for our fucking entertainment, you know, and what you have after those fights, after your career, is your legacy. You know what I mean? How much money do you really have left? Okay, but after all the beatings and the physical punishment that you've taken in the ring, the dedication and time, that's what you have left, your memories of what happened. So you'll be hunted by the things you didn't do. And I believe that's what Bo's problem is right now. Not less Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis is good. You know, you don't see him punch drunk. You don't see him, you know, having any health problems that we know of. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things, man. It's really one of those things where I think he regrets, and I think Wilder should look at that as a reference to what could happen versus what's happening now and the ducking and all that stuff. But anyway, yeah, it does. So shouts out to you, Crack World. Raul Morihon. Maury John. Morihon. But remember what happened to Pac-Man with Marquez is the last fight, sleep time. Good point, Raul. You know, that could happen both sides, though. However, I appreciate the analogy because Ortiz did have Deontay on Queer Street. Now, the question is, if he puts him on Queer Street this time, what will he do? Will he punch himself out, or will he have enough sense or experience to know, okay, this guy is more than likely protected again. You're more than likely going to get in there with somebody that, or some ref is going to be a pro-Wilder referee, right? So when you get him hurt, you better do the proper things to get him out. Because you're not going to have, more than likely, you're not going to have help from the referees. So, and if he runs into one of them straight lefts, trying to throw that right, and, you know, and Ortiz times it perfectly and knocks him out, that would be crazy, dude. That would be crazy. You know, Deontay would probably be roasted for a long time. Of course, it would be a trilogy. Of course, it would be. But, there was no fifth fight in Pacquiao Marquez. So, but hey, it could happen that way. This is the sport that I love, that I hate so much, for a reason. Because it is unpredictable, especially in the heavyweight division. So, shouts out to you, Raul Morihon. Shouts out to you, or Morjan. Shouts out to you. Kamal Raji, thanks for the props, brother. Keep it up. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Kurt, you're the best at talking boxing, mate. A true fan of boxing. Yes, I am. And that's from Jedi Master. Thank you very much. Victor Penn, you got to talk to them, Kurt. Hey, crying emojis. You got to talk to him, Kurt. They dying slowly. He rushed to release the rematch, hoping everyone will get off his neck. Keep slaying them. Boxing Eho is a paid puppet. I just was talking about that. Something's up with like Ego and the LDBC. It got to be something up with him, man, because it's like, that shit's like I don't know. I mean, something's up with that. Like, you can't be that one-sided all the time and not get paid by somebody. Somebody's throwing Ego's ass, a bone here and there, or a bone with a little meat on it. You know what I mean? A half-ate ham hock. You know what I'm saying? Half-ate neck bone. It's just like, dude, you guys have to be on somebody's payroll to have that type of favoritism. You know what I'm saying? Especially to being a quote-unquote boxing news channel. Okay, so you're right, So shouts out to Victor Penn. Yeah, I'm going to keep slaying him. Boxing Eho. Boxing Eho. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just a favoritism, Ezra Houston said, I honestly can't remember seeing a fighter agree to their next fight so soon after the last one. LOL. Shows how desperate he is not to fight Joshua. I don't know about that. I think a lot of fights that are they have fighters like that are working on their next fight, but it depends on what caliber of fight that is, because the promoter more than likely is putting a certain fight together, as as an assumption that fighter will win, and they're already in negotiations with that particular fight or fighter. Just like Joshua's team was still sending emails over. Shelly Finkel was claiming like, oh, we're going to wait till after the fight. Well, none of those guys are fighting anybody. Ortiz just fought. Wilder just fought. So these guys are kind of free to do those negotiations. So, but I do find it weird that these guys are all of a sudden Wilder's making a announcement with Joshua, with Ortiz, and then because Joshua was all of a sudden, hey, come see me. I'm here in America. So, yeah, that's real convenient. That's too damn convenient for you. Oh, shit, he wants to see me. Yeah, I'm fighting Ortiz. Yep, get the fuck off my back. Leave me alone. Bomb squad. But anyway, shouts out to you, Ezra Houston. AFC Razor 84. AJ should go to the Wilder versus Ortiz match armed with an NES gun and have a game of duck hunt. There is some truth to that. I think by that time, we have to put in account that AJ's going to have to start mandatories. So AJ's career is first. He doesn't do a lot of trolling to the point. And I don't see him doing that at all. It would be good to see that, though. But the NES duck hunt, you know what I mean? That's classic shit right there. You come with the gun. You know, because they ducking, you know. Wilder's ducking, and he used Ortiz to duck Joshua, you know, to fight Wilder. So he can duck Joshua too. So, yeah, you made a dude duck the dude that you ducking. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But you're absolutely right. You know, Dessa D. Allen. Let's go counterpunch. We love the fact that their ignorance will breed acknowledgement that you will relay to us. Absolutely. You know, they think that people are stupid. You know, you have to have a free thinking mind to yourself to really respect this channel, because you got to balance out and check out what's going on over here versus what's going on over there and put it together. You know, that's what it's about. You can't just, oh, you know, I think it's this, I think it's that. But shouts out to you. You know, I will bring light on something that they're trying to put or keep in the dark, rather. So, Dessa D. Allen, hope I pronounced that right. You know, shouts out to you. You had spoken well. Take a bow. Yep, that's what I do, or I try to. Dave Green, only one fight we want to see, but Wilder keeps on ducking. I bet Ortiz isn't getting $7 million. Now, I'm glad you brought that up. Shouts out to you, Dave Green. No, he won't get $7 million, but I guarantee you this. He's going to get more money than he's ever made in his career. And in his mind, he thinks, okay, well, that's good enough for my family. He's going to be on a pay-per-view event. So he joins Erislandy Lara when he fought Canelo. And, you know, that's going to raise his profile. But he doesn't understand that is his ceiling at that point. So basically what he did, he sold himself short. And he capped himself off. And he doesn't realize that the fight he took and he fought with Wilder was a great fight. Don't get me wrong. It was a nice action-packed fight. Ortiz showed his stuff in there. He showed what he could do. He showed his countering abilities. But he also showed a lot of other things. He showed that he, you know, first of all, he underestimated Wilder. He thought Wilder didn't supposed to be able to move like that. He thought, I guess he sensed he was still hurt or apprehensive to fight. One thing Wilder's going to do is throw that right hand. So you're not going to stop him from throwing that right hand. So as long as he's throwing that right hand, he's going to be dangerous. That one trick pony is still that one dangerous ass trick pony though. Okay. So yeah, absolutely. I think that he won't get $7 million, but he might end up with $3 million. You know, I don't know. I hope his guarantee is 3 or 4. That would be great. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you know, a percentage of the revenue, which would probably be 70-30. You know, I would love it to be 60-40. Because, you know, I'm an Ortiz fan. And I want the man to get paid. You know what I'm saying? I want Ortiz to get paid. And I feel like a lot of Cuban fighters, you know, don't get their just due when it comes to professional boxing. You know? There's life after amateur boxing. It's just like amateur Cuban fighters, they cap themselves at that the elite amateur. Oh, I'm the Olympian. But then that's it. You go back home, you know, you drink a fifth of rum every day and you sit around, right? And look at old Kaz, you know. Might dance a little bit, hang out, chill.